What up, y'all? It's Natealmighty, aka the Global Dark Skin Ambassador. Today we're going to be reacting to Jay Williams' Let's Live Life for the very first time. This is one of the OGs in this brand of content that I do. This is my first time watching an entire video by this guy right here. I believe this is the Aryan Nation goes to war with the 5%ers, the God bodies. Let's see what this is about. Without further ado, let's get to it.
Prison gangs. White versus black. Black versus white. Racist white gangs. Racist black gangs. Now, I've told y'all before, in VA, here where I live on the East Coast, it's different than a lot of states. Of course, you've got your racist gangs. And people can dispute, you can argue what I'm about to say. That's not what I'm here for. I'm just giving you my experience, what I saw. At the time that I was in prison, the biggest racist white gang we had was the Aryan Brotherhood. Now people say, oh, they're not racist. They just believe in it being just white people with white people. Y'all can say that, but as a white man or someone that's considered to be a white man, I saw a lot more behind the scenes than...
First off, shout out to Jay Williams for just keeping it a band. Just keeping it a band. Like, the Aryan Brotherhood is racist. It is what it is, man. They in jail. It's survival of the fittest. Or rather, they in prison. It's survival of the fittest. It is what it is.
Other races would, or people like to admit. And I heard things, overheard things that I just didn't agree with. And that's why I put that organization in the category of being a racist organization. You might be a part of it somewhere else, and that might not be the case. But keep in mind, I wasn't there with you. I don't know how y'all rock there. I'm telling y'all what happens here, right? I didn't really think that there were racist black gangs. I know racism exists in all cultures. Racism exists with all races. That's a no-brainer. As long as there's stupidity in the world or, people that want to point the finger and blame a whole entire group, there's going to be racism. I was a dude in prison that kicked it with everybody. If you didn't have no messed up charges, you were a good person, somebody I rocked with, then I would kick it with you.
I'm also gonna add here, from the first minute or two, I already feel like Jay Williams is very authentic. I feel like I believe exactly everything he's saying right now.
You know what I mean? It doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure out. So I dealt with white dudes, black dudes, Spanish dudes of all different descents. I was very diverse when it came to the crowd of people I had around me or I spoke to on a day-to-day basis. I talked about this tall black guy named Shakur that got into it with the MS-13s. They chased him with the knives and stuff, right? Well, Shakur was a 5%er. For y'all that don't know, 5%ers fall under the Nation of Islam, but they don't fully proclaim everything that all the other Muslims and stuff claim. They believe that, 85% of the world is lost or kind of ignorant. 10% can be saved, and they are the 5% that really knows the truth, that have been enlightened, that understand their purpose, and so on and so on. That breaks down who the 5%ers are. I'd never met a 5%er that was not black. They were always black dudes that were 5%ers, right?
This is true.
So I would kick it with Shakur. I would kick it with, different dudes. My homeboy Shabazz. And these dudes are 5%ers. Shakur, I told you, was a New York cat. He'd come down. The whole 5%er religion, started, I believe, don't quote me, I think it started in Harlem, up in New York. And these are just dudes I talked to. Dudes I did business with. We'd sit and chop it up sometimes. You might see me sitting.
Another thing. Based off of Jay Williams' mannerisms and everything and the way he's talking, I could tell, I could spot the sincerity in everything he said, and also I could tell that he's somebody who is very well acquainted with black people. He spent a lot of significant time around black people his entire life. I could tell that. I could tell that. I know white boys like this.
Eating with one of them, you might see me sitting in the mall with a Spanish dude. No big deal. Well, then you've got your Aryans, your Aryan Brotherhood, which consists of all white guys. And they more or less were just a racist organization. That's what they were. I call it like I see it. When I first showed up, now let me rephrase that. When they first showed up, because I had been in prison a while and I hadn't ran across none of them. Next thing I know, a whole bunch of stuff jumps off on the yard. People get transferred. People get sent from my side of the yard to the other side of the compound to another side of the yard. And they're sending guys from over there, over here. We get a bunch of these Aryan dudes, these AB dudes show up in my pod, in my building, on our side of the compound. And they jump right into recruiting dudes. Right into it. Their numbers are starting to grow. There's more and more of them. Everywhere you look, you see them walking. You see their tattoos. You see the shamrocks. And this is just certain things that, distinguish who they are. They come to me one day. They've been in the pod around me now for a while. And they come to me and they're like, hey, what's up, man? You ain't never thought about getting down. And I'm like, when you say getting down, what do you mean? They're like, you ain't never thought about, becoming AB or joining the AB. And I'm like, nah. Why would I? They're like, well, you're a white man. It's not a bad idea to possibly think about what we're talking about. I said, well, first of all, I'm of mixed descent. I'm Indian and Irish. Like, this shit don't even make sense. I'm not even, like, if you want to be white, like, and say you got to be, like, super white, I'm not super white. I'm half Indian. Oh, shit. Well, your office.
Hey, man, statistically speaking, technicality speaking, he right. Another thing, too, y'all. We be so big on this white and black thing. White and black really is only a thing in America. It's really just this thing that they use against us to just have us squabbling against each other when in all due reality, outside of America, anywhere you go, they'll see somebody like me, they're not going to say, oh, he's black. They're going to be like, he's from America. He's American. Which I am. If you look like Jay Williams and you're outside of America, it's going to be, what are you? Oh, my people are Irish. I'm Irish. Or I'm Indian. Or I'm Polish. It's going to be like that. So all this white and black stuff is really crap at the end of the day. And it's colors.
Still stands. They still tried to
color
bring me into
banging.
this just because of the
tribalism.
Skin, right? I shoot it down. I wouldn't really rock with many of these dudes, man. I try to keep it peaceful and respectful. What's up? I keep it moving. But you're not going to see me sitting at a table with a bunch of AB dudes. You're not going to see me walking the yard with a bunch of AB dudes or mealing up or doing any of these things that they do together because, like I've told you, in prison, you are who you hang around. So if I put myself around them, everybody automatically assumes that I'm with them. Well, I was under the impression with the 5%ers because of ignorance, because of not knowing. I'd heard so many other people say they don't like white people. They don't. I said, man, I got 5% of homeboys. They're like, I'm telling you, they don't really like white people, man. They mess with you for some reason, but in general, they don't like white.
Yo, not all, but some. Like it could, when you heavily indoctrinated and you have this victim mindset, it's only the victim mindset that I have somebody that look like me and look at somebody who look like Jay Williams and then just not like him for no reason other than the fact that he looks how he looks. And really, it's the most low vibrational, ignorant shit in the world for real.
People like, You know, the leader that started the 5%ers fell into Malcolm X, and you know, it's just part of their thing.
Even Malcolm X didn't hate white people. Malcolm X didn't hate. He might have felt a way about white people, but as he, you know what I mean, he grew spiritually and got closer to his death, he wasn't even on that type of time.
That they don't like white people. I didn't believe that. And I still don't believe that. I believe that there are people that don't like other races, but they fall in all categories. So I'm kicking it with, you know, Shakur and Shabazz one day. We're sitting out at the table. We decided to make something to eat that night. They asked me, came to my cell, like, Jay, you trying to throw up on this meal? We short a couple items, you trying to get down? And I was like, hell yeah, I'm trying to get down, you know what I mean? So we meal up. And the next day, one of the dudes comes to me. One of the AB dudes tells me, yo, that's not a good look, man, for you. I said, what you mean it's not a good look for me? He was like, you out there with the 5%ers and shit, you know, mealing up. It just makes, you know, white dudes look bad. I said, it makes white dudes look bad. First of all, I'm not with y'all. So I can't make y'all look anything. This is what I do. And this is how it's been since.
Facts. Jay Williams is official. We will be doing some more Jay Williams reviews and discussing some more Jay Williams topics and videos on this channel. Jay Williams is official, and he's staying on his own too. He not a wave rider. He not a nut hugger. I like this guy. I like this guy. Jay Williams gets invited to the barbecue.
Been here, like y'all showed up over here now. Y'all want to start trying to, like, put this wall up and divide people. And I'm not with that, man. I rock with who I rock with. You know
That's
what I
a
mean?
fact. That's a fact.
I told you, I said, there's a problem. Let me know. Like, we're not gonna go back on this. We're not gonna go back and forth. We're not gonna discuss this every time we see each other. I'm Jay. You're you. You do you. I do me. That's how it's gonna go. And these dudes ain't gonna try to crash with me because I got numbers. I got dudes that really legitly in there fuck with me, that if y'all want to come at me because of who I kick it with and what I do, y'all are going to lose miserably. You know what I mean? I got some of these old heads from Richmond and some of these young boys from Richmond and dudes from different areas that are sure enough hitters that will take you up out of here if that's where y'all want to take it. So they fall back from it, right? So I'm talking to my homeboy Shakur, and I'm like, yo, dude feels the type of way that I even talk to y'all. He's like, wow, what's up with that, God? He'll call everybody God. What's up, God? What you mean by that? I said, it feels type of way. Like everybody talking about y'all hate white people. And he was like, there's some truth to that. There's some 5%ers that do not like, you know, white people. He's like, there's some truth to that. He was like, but I'm not one of those people, man. I don't follow that aspect of anything. He felt the same way I felt. If you good people, I'm going to rock with you.
That's it.
He was like, it's them AB dudes talking shit, ain't it? I said, look, man, you know, I'm not the one to do all that he said, she said shit. You know what I mean? You can think what you want, man, but I'm not trying to stir no shit up. I'm not going to stir no shit up. Y'all good dudes. I don't want to see nobody get jammed up. I'm just telling y'all that it's dudes that feel some type of way, man. He's like, that's what it is. So from there on out, Shakur is kind of, I'm not going to say looking for trouble, but he's looking for little reasons to spark one of their asses. He's looking for the first sign of anything to take off on one of them, right? The AB dudes are on the yard one day, and they're having a meeting out there, and they must...
You see, before we keep going, you see the energy of evil, the energy of hatred. It's an energy that passes from one person to another, one group of people to another. You know, the ABs, they was already on a negative, low vibrational type of wave. And that transferred to the God body brother. And now he wants to reciprocate that energy, man. It's just it's a never-ending cycle, man. Sad, bro.
Probably about 15 of them. And we're on 7 buildings yard, all the way down at the end, you know, right towards where they do the death penalty and all that stuff at. They're down at the end doing their thing. And there's a bunch of 5%ers walking laps together, right? Well, it's a softball season. We're out there playing softball. I'm out in the outfield. You know, I think I was playing center. And we're just, having our softball game, enjoying the summertime, some of the good things about prison, releasing some stress. And I look over and all I see is the 5%ers are rumbling these AB dudes. And there's way more of the AB dudes than there is the 5%ers, because they didn't come out there looking for no wreck. These dudes actually have a meeting, so they have the larger amount of their numbers with them at the time. And all this chaos erupts, and I look over, and Shakur, Shabazz, all these different dudes are just over there. Boom, 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 boom. They're rumbling. And a couple of these AB boys, they're big, jacked up, meathead white dudes. They're giving it back. They're fighting. Now, you got some of the white AB dudes that have taken off, that have gotten away from it, and have just, went in different directions, didn't know what to do, because they were really never about that type of life, right? All of us on the softball field, the ones that aren't involved, we fall back. And then a bunch more dudes, 5%ers and Muslim guys take off in that direction. They jump in and they just completely smash these AB dudes out. All the way out. Smashed them. They had these dudes running, stomping them, kicking them. They beat the shit out of these dudes, right? By the time the tower sees what's going on, everybody disperses. They break off in singles. And then they, walk through groups and mix and match until you can't tell who's who no more. You can't pick out really anybody except the majority of the AB dudes that were involved, because a lot of them got their heads shaved. A lot of them got tattoos on their heads, on their faces. So the lady in the guard tower was able to pick out a bunch of these dudes. We go back in the building. We go on lock. And they're yelling from cell to cell, the 5%ers are, about what happened. And what happened is, as they were walking by the ABs, the AB dudes didn't say anything to them directly, but during them talking, one of the dudes spoke up something along the lines of, "We got to do something to get these in control around here." And he dropped the N-bomb. Shakur heard him say it, turned around and said, "What'd you say?" And dude told him, pretty much, "This ain't got nothing to do with you, mind your business. Fuck out of here, keep walking." Shakur's like, "Nah, say it again, say it again. Say what you just said again so my brothers can hear what you just said." And dude wouldn't say it. He done said some racist shit. They're not having it. They know now where they stand. They run over there and just boom, 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 boom.
Book him, Danny. Get him. Get him. Boop, bop, beep, 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 boop, 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 boop.
Go to fighting, right? A lot of the AB dudes didn't get locked up. I told you it's only 15. I think they locked up 6 or 7 of them. We go on lock, and in the meantime, more dudes are coming in the pod while we're on lockdown, coming from other institutions, other parts of the prison. We get a couple more of these AB dudes into the pod, right?
They getting deep.
And Shakur is letting it be known. He's yelling from his door. He's like, "Look, we're very peaceful." And that's when dude yells up, y'all racist just like we are. Y'all don't like us, we don't like y'all, that's what it is. Shakur said, "I never said I didn't like none of y'all. I ain't never came at you sideways. You ain't never heard me say a racist word out my mouth. And you thinking you're going to do it. Y'all got me fucked all the way up. We will smash y'all every time these doors pop and start killing y'all until y'all go on somewhere with that bullshit," right? So while they're in the cell, we're on lockdown for a better part of a week while they're investigating what happened. You got investigators coming in, prison administration coming in, the warden, assistant warden. They're walking around asking people. They get to my cell, ask me if I know anything about the yard and what happened on the yard. I said, "Nah, I wasn't even over on that area, man." I said, "I was on the other side of the building where the blacktop is. What have you heard?" "I didn't hear nothing, man. I don't know what's going on." I knew the whole thing, but I'm not about to tell y'all nothing. You know what I mean? Do your job. They ask Marcelli, he gives them the same thing. Marcelli tells them, "I don't know, man. I was in the building that day. I don't even know why we on lock. I don't know nothing." Ain't nobody telling the police nothing. We don't fuck with the law in there.
Yes, sir.
Everything goes back to normal. Everything.
Yes, sir. Dean Kane, sir.
Between them comes to a halt. Couple months go by, and we got this new dude in the pod named Little Joe. Little Joe was doing 15 or 16 years, one of those two numbers, for a bunch of drug charges, gun charges. It was mostly guns. That's what he was doing time for. A small dude. Joe comes in. He really don't know nobody. Like most people that come into a new pod or on a new compound, He's trying to find out where he fits in. Younger guy, you already know. The AB dudes swoop in, dig their claws in him, and they start trying to teach him and school him to their bullshit. Joe goes and gets his tattoo on him that represents the AB for everybody to see. Now the dudes that were kicking it with Little Joe, that weren't AB affiliated, have fallen back from him.
Got
so
to.
now all he's got is a circle of these Aryan dudes, right? And like I said, for the most part, everything went back to normal. We went back to our normal living conditions. The beef was died down. These two groups of dudes just avoided each other as much as they could. You know, they would do things like stare over each other's direction, but when somebody would look, they'd turn their heads and look the other way. They started using Little Joe, and I liked Little Joe. Joe was a good dude.
Let me guess what he about to say. They start using Lil Joe like a doja. They about to get him into some shit that he wasn't even built for. He wanted protection, so he got down with the AB, and drama is about to ensue.
When I say I liked him, like he was actually a good person, but easily influenced.
Cause he was soft.
Joe's wife would come up there every weekend, and Little Joe was exactly what his name described him as. He was a little dude. Joe was maybe 5'4", 140, 145 pounds. Short,
little
small dude. His wife is 5'10", 5'11". She's a big block, diesel. I'm talking like big woman. You know what I mean? Like she could probably beat up 4 Little Joes if she wanted to.
Little Joe had
just
a grenade.
weird combination seeing
he had a grenade for a
this
wife.
girl loved Joe. She was always there every weekend.
She was loyal.
The Aryan dudes would continue to hold their meetings on the yard on the weekends like they had done when the fight popped off. And Joe would get called for a visit. Joe missed 3 or 4 meetings on the yard, so they come to Joe and they tell him, it's mandatory you're at these meetings. Most of these dudes aren't getting visits. They're just looking for somebody to pick on. You have to be at these meetings. I don't care if you get called for a visit. You deny it, you better be on the yard for the next meeting.
Haters.
Joe tells him, if my wife comes to see me, I'm going to see my wife.
Yeah.
She comes up here with my kids, I'm going to see my kids.
Facts.
I'm not bucking that or turning that down to come out on the yard. It ain't no disrespect, but that's my wife and my kids. You better be on that yard next meeting. You better turn that visit down.
Man, if it's that damn serious, man, pick another damn day to have a meeting. The man can't, you know what I'm saying? The man can't see his wife and his children. This is why I made a story. See, this happens in prison in New York, and it was happening on Rikers Island, where I got a story that's detailing how the biggest haters, the most aggressive dudes, the biggest bullies are oftentimes the dudes that's the brokest and they have no real moral support. And the dudes that get hated on the most is the dudes who they may not necessarily be able to defend themselves on their own, but they got constant support. They get hated on the most.
No matter what, you better be out there when we're out there to discuss what we got to discuss. That weekend comes around before rec gets called. After we had lunchtime. After lunch, we had rec, morning rec, and then at this point in time, we had night rec. It's summertime. They called Joe for a visit. Right before they call Chow, they call lockdown. They call his name Joe, such and such. After count, you have a visit. I see Joe get his stuff. You know, he goes out to the ironing board and gets his clothes ready. After count, count clears. Guys are on standby to go to the chow hall and eat. Joe goes out with movement and goes over to the visiting room. The dudes are out on the yard. I'm out there that day. I believe it was summertime, blistering hot, dusty ass, dirty track. I'm walking this dusty ass, dirty track with my homeboys, just talking bullshit, you know, just doing what you would expect to do in prison. And I see all these dudes, and their numbers have now grown more than what they had before. And they're down at the same place they got the fighting at, and they're having their meeting. Little Joe's not there. He's over there with his wife, right? Joe would come back, and that evening, I can't remember if I was tattooing. Yeah, I was tattooing because I didn't go to night rec that night. After we came out at 5 o'clock count, you know, after that, they say stand by for rec. And then, you know, you wait. They pop the door. You go out the door. You go to the rec yard. Get your 2 hours of rec. Come back in, you know, around 8 something. They pop the cell doors, and we're on standby for wreck. Dude comes down to my cell. I set up, start tattooing on him, and I hear all this commotion and all this chaos, right? I kind of, not being nosy, but just trying to be alert and aware, you know what I mean, staying on guard. I need to know what's going on around me before I get started. Like, if somebody gets stabbed, or we about to go on lock, you know, I need to know what's happening before I shut the cell door, lock this dude in here, and start tattooing on him. I look, all the commotion is coming from Joe's cell. These dudes are in there so deep, and you got dudes blocking the door so you can't see, that you can't really tell who's even in there. It's just a herd of guys in the cell beating little Joe up, smashing Joe, stomping Joe, kicking Joe, right?
Bruh, as little Joe was, did he really deserve that? Did he really deserve that? Mind you, he done got the tattoo and the haircut to be down with them, be just like them. He basically signed up for other grown men to act like his daddy and tell him, you can't see your family. You got to come to this meeting to talk about a whole bunch of bull crap. If you watching this, my question is, why do people continue to join gangs? In every situation, it's the same way, bro. People above you, they think they better than you. They think they can tell you how to live your life. And if you don't listen to them, they gonna jump you or worse.
So this happens, takes place for a couple minutes, and they come on out the cell. And a short time later, you know, dudes have been going down there to check on Joe and see what's going on with him. But like I said, since he became AB, it's kind of off limits. Like, you got yourself in a situation, can't nobody mess with you. This is when I realized you don't always listen to the hype. Don't believe the stereotypes. People tried to put them bad bones on the 5%ers, say the 5%ers were racist, the 5%ers were this, were that. The main AB dude that had them jump Joe wanted their tattoo off Joe, because that's common with any type of gang. If you're not in the gang no more, the tattoo's got to go. It can be cut off, burned off, covered up. We don't care. We want to go. They're putting pressure on Joe about this tattoo in front of everybody. Carrying him, calling him names. He's all busted up, beat up. Eyes are swole up. He's sending a celly, you know, up front to get hot water.
Sad, bro. Sad, bro. All of that. He chose to represent y'all organization. He got the tattoo, everything. Just for y'all to tell him, y'all got a right to tell him that he can't go see his family. And if he go see his family, you're just going to beat the crap out of him. You're going to lump him up. Because he want to go see his family, kiss his wife, hug and kiss his kids. It's like, choose us over your family, your flesh and blood. It's ridiculous, bro. Gangs are trash.
Can't even really come out the cell. These dudes are going to the cell just messing with Joe, still talking shit. Tell me why the 5% of dudes went down to Joe's cell and checked on him. I'm not sure of what the conversation consisted of, but whatever it was, when they were done, they came back from Joe's cell, stood in the middle of the pod, and told them dudes, if anybody so much as lays another finger on this young man or does anything else to him, you will not only deal with the 5%ers, you'll deal with the Muslims and all of our brothers, and we will wipe y'all out. First and only warning. He will cover the tattoo up when he wants to cover it up. It's garbage anyway. He'll get to it when he gets to it. But if anybody else tries to attack this man, y'all have to go through us. Now you're talking, there's a whole lot of these dudes standing there with their arms crossed in front of this little scared white dude's cell that wasn't long ago was part of a racist white gang. I guess in them talking to him, they realized that Joe was lost and was just looking for somebody to love him and somewhere to fit in.
Yeah, and protection. Yeah.
That was the end of that.
All right, man. That's the end of this story, man. I want to say shout out to Jay Williams. Let's Live Life channel. I like this brother a lot. Like I said, this is the first actual Jay Williams video that I watched all the way through to the end. I like this guy's storytelling. What's the word I'm looking for? I like his storytelling style. His messages were very clear for me to understand. I believe everything he said is authentic. If you ain't already subscribed to the Jay Williams channel, go ahead and subscribe to his channel, man. This has been Nate Almighty with another prison video reaction. Peace.